I'm John Hancock of the West Plains Water Coalition. This is Water Watch. Brianna Brinkman is the lead PFAS scientist in Ecology's Eastern Washington office, a key leader of local PFAS activities and a former Gonzaga science professor.
So as part of my job at Ecology, one of them is being a site manager for the Spokane International Airport. And so John invited me here today to kind of give an update on the progress at that site. Part of their enforcement order requires them to submit monthly progress reports. Our last progress report was received on the 10th. We had an online meeting that day, and it notified there were no discrepancies from what was required at that time. So remember, that is their first progress report that they've had since the enforcement order started. So they will have to review that, and then we will submit it back to them to make any modifications necessary. Once that's finalized, we'll move into our next set of deliverables. So if you ever are interested in this very, very lengthy MOTCA process, we do have all of those dates. It is still on our webpage, and it will remain on our webpage for you to review, in addition to any of the new information that are provided. So that website is going to be the site where you're going to get all the information. So this is where we're getting data to figure out how we're going to do the remedial investigation. So they're going to be sampling their wells again that are on property, and also some soil samples, so that we can get a picture of what's going on their property. So this is the beginning part of the investigation. The other thing I do kind of want to keep up with everybody is our sampling water results. So a total of 307 residents were sampled in March from the EPA. They were extremely efficient and thorough, and we were able to kind of get an understanding of what's going on. Right now, based on that sample set, 30% of the households had non-detects with PFAS. We had 14 that were underneath our site action levels. So that is the lower of either the EPA's MCL level or the state's, Washington State's SALs. I mentioned that EPA was very efficient with the first set of sampling, and because of that, and because we saw a little bit of a need in a couple different areas, we are going to, EPA and Ecology are again partnering to do another sampling round. We have 125 sampling slots open, or till June 18th. I will let you know that we've had quite a bit of interest. We were hoping for at least 90 to get a really good picture of what the area looks like. So if you, again, plug and chug for those data points. I will help if you do have some privacy issues. We can come up with some creative ways to do that.
Is there an average depth of well wherein you're finding these extremely ultra-high PFAS levels, or the next lesser level?
Julia, great question. I would love to be able to answer that, but we don't have enough data. And again, that is where Dr. Chad Pritchard's model will be helpful in looking at those kind of connections to give us a depth. But we do know that there is contamination in both aquifer systems, the Wanapum, which is the top layer, and the Grand Ronde, which was the deeper.
Hey, have you heard about any discrepancies in people that have their wells tested through the Anatech lab versus the Ecology lab? Because I'm hearing some discrepancies where the EPA has come out and tested my neighbor, who is literally, I don't know, maybe 200 feet away from me, and has said that there were no detectable results, but yet my well, who I had tested through Anatech, was off the charts.
So here's the thing, that is completely possible. We have looked and we have compared Anatech to EPA. They're using the same stringent method. We do have a couple sites where we have historical data from Anatech coupled with some of the new EPA data. And remember, we are talking about parts per trillion. Parts per trillion. So one little drop in 40, swimming pools. Very, very small concentrations. There will be a little bit of variation. And one of the things that we did with the EPA sampling is there were a couple of you that were sampled, or 2 samples were pulled. And that was to see, okay, is our method varying at all? And all those internal measures came back as they should, what we call nominal. But no, we have not seen any difference between Anatech and EPA. We have seen significant difference between neighbors. And there's a lot of different confounding factors that can come into play. So Julia mentioned one, which is the depth. Another one is the type of soil that your well is in, the construction of your well, how deep it is.
How long does the PFAS persist in our raised bed gardens? Can we water that out of there with clean water, or?
It depends. I know, without knowing the type of soil, usually a lot of organic content is good in your raised beds. You know, the fact that we've actually had rain. I don't know if you've had rain over here. We've had it a little bit used. So that's great. You know, making sure that you kind of understand there's a wonderful handout that DOH put together on gardening with a couple different recommendations. And I think John is putting on a wonderful presentation here in a little bit about agriculture and pets impact as well.
For the West Plains Water Coalition, I'm John Hancock.